Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning. It's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. It is Monday, April 11th, 2011, 4/11/11. I hadn't noticed that before. It's 9 o'clock on Monday morning, and that means no BS job search advice. I'll just simply say that it's been a busy couple of days. I've also had a chance to have some fun. Busy from the standpoint of work certainly is incredibly busy. Firms are back hiring again in large numbers. And if you're not getting interviews, I got to tell you, you're probably doing something wrong. So I just want to simply say that you got to get out, you got to get about, you got to be out there talking with people. Sitting home complaining and whining is not going to help you at all find the job. And as a recruiter, I'm out there talking to people all the time. When I'm talking with them, I'm looking for some energy and some passion. I'm not looking for depression because I know my clients aren't. So I just want to encourage you, get out there, get out and about. And I know we have a busy couple of days. I'm in the process of moving my home. We're selling our house. We're closing on Friday. It's the beginning of a staged move. We're going to be doing Asheville, North Carolina in June after my son finishes school this year. But in the meantime, we're moving tomorrow to a new place, or a temporary place. And then Friday we close on the sale of the house and then head south in June. So it's a zooey time for me, and yet I'm still out there talking with folks, and I'm still out there helping people and helping organizations fill requirements. And Lord knows you can be doing that too. Turn off the TV. Don't listen to Oprah. Stop switching over to watching the news on your computer and thinking that you're doing work. You got to get out there and talk to folks. Let's talk about some of the things that you can be doing better in your job search. And I want to start off with resumes today. I've spoken about networking before. I really don't spend a lot of time talking about resumes because, to me, resumes are not a big deal in the job search. But I realize that for many of you, you're fixated on resumes. So I want to give you a couple of the best pieces of advice I can give you, just to start off with, and then I'll go into some minutia. But I want to start off with, judging by what I receive in my inbox every day, a lot of you have trouble with the idea that you're supposed to send a resume that fits the job requirement. And I know that may be profoundly simple and obvious, but most people don't. They send resumes to jobs that they're not qualified for. And they in no way, shape, or form make the case that you should be interviewed. And I got to tell you, are you finding this as particularly effective as a strategy? Of course not. This is as effective as spamming for Viagra. By this time, everyone is just immune to those Viagra and Cialis spams that we get, and we're not tricked into opening them. And when we do, we immediately delete them and have them automatically, that domain automatically sent to junk mail. We don't bother, and yet people keep sending the same single resume out to every single job. And it makes no sense because is every job the same? Of course not. But people keep flipping resumes like burgers in the kitchen of a fast food restaurant, to job after job after job, and they expect to get results. And on occasion, you get a phone call. On occasion, you may get an interview where someone guesses that you might have some background that fits, but why don't you just go for better results? And instead of sending that same resume out over and over again, tailor it. Make the fit obvious. And then from there, once you're emailing the resume, number one, don't send a separate file of a cover letter. Use your email as part of your, instead of what used to be called a cover letter, and make the fit obvious. Use that space to sell yourself. And one of the easiest ways to do it is copy and paste a lot of the functionality that's required for the job. And very simply, pick out those skills and requirements and list them. And then next to them, list how long and how recently you've performed the function. Doesn't that make it easy for the reader to know that you fit the job? So, people just don't do this. They expect people are going to keep reading the same resume over and over again. And you've heard the saying, the broken watch is right twice a day. And yeah, you'll get some interviews, but why don't you go for results? Why don't you get more interviews? And one of the simplest ways is just simple two things. Stop spamming resumes and expecting to get results, and tailor your resume. Your job is not to get lots of pointless interviews. Your job is to get hired. And kind of like in internet marketing, when they talk about long-tail keywords or long-tail searches, I'm going to encourage you, if you're using job boards as part of your search process, and I expect most of you are, put out a long-tail keyword search. So this way you're going down not just one or two keywords, but you're going down 10 or 12, because often that's the difference in getting hired is going deeper out into the search strings in order to get results. So for example, for programmers who use a particular technology, and I'm going to use J2E as an example, you don't just simply list J2E in a geography. You list 5 or 10 different skills beyond that, which could be all the subsets, all the frameworks, and secondary languages that you've programmed in, the particular applications that you've worked with, on and on and on, until you have a 10 or 15 word search string. And don't you think some of those folks will be interested in your background if that's really your experience? Of course, because you've really narrowed it down to a finite universe of organizations that are going to try and look for your background. So I'm encouraging you, make the fit obvious. Let them see how you fit the requirement. Make it easy for them. And this last thing is just about how bureaucracies work, and that's whether you're talking to a third-party recruiter or you're talking to a corporation. When you send the resume out to an organization and you're sending your nice new tailored resume to them, I want to discourage you from using embedded headers. What's an embedded header? It's when you embed your name, address, phone number, what have you at the top of the resume, because you think it looks pretty and it repeats on page after page. Well, it does repeat on page after page, but the issue with that approach is, frankly, all of us are using parsing software to track individuals. Do you think we're really entering your resume into our computers manually? We're all using software to do this. And your nice new embedded header is not going to be parsable. And for a large organization that has to maintain these records for the federal government, frankly, it's a pain in the derriere to do. Often, firms are telling me they're just deleting resumes rather than being bothered. So I want to discourage you from embedding your address and phone number and such in the top or the bottom of your resume. Just lay it out there at the top. Make it easy for everyone, because you'll, again, get more results. So let's move on to some of the jobs I'm recruiting for around the country. And I want to start by saying that if you're qualified, interested, and available, please email your resume to me at thebiggamehunter@cisny.com. If you know someone who will fit some of these jobs, feel free to encourage them to forward a resume to me. If you don't fit any of these jobs but want me to have a copy of your resume, send it to me. But in the subject line, use the phrase on spec. SPEC, on spec. So this way I know that you're not fitting any of these jobs. You're not trying to waste my time. You just want your resume in my inventory. I'll parse it and get it into my database. So in this way, if I have something appropriate, I can get back in contact with you. So let's talk about some of the jobs I'm recruiting for around the country. And let me start off with a number of solutions architects I have with this one consulting firm. It's a U.S. headquarter professional services firm with about 100,000 people on staff globally. They're looking for a number of solutions architects. These are solutions architects on the application side rather than the infrastructure side. I just want to be clear about that. So they want people with applications development and architecture background, good experience with Unix, Windows, or cloud-based technologies, plus Java or C# or C++, and must have consulting experience in your background, preferably with one of the large consulting firms. Must be able and willing to travel 80%. That's Monday through Thursday, you're on the road. They get you home on Thursday night. You work from home on Friday. These are salaries from about $120 to $150 on a base plus bonus. Then I have a job in in Westport, Connecticut, for a Java architect to work as part of an architecture and infrastructure team. They'll do relocations. To read individual with strong skills in object-oriented programming and design patterns, expertise in core Java, JDBC, multi-threading, and JMS with strong server-side Java background. Again, going to about 140 on the base plus bonus. And then in California, I believe it's in Redwood City, we're looking for Director of Trust Operations. These are background in trust lifecycle operations to serve as an operations business lead for major systems and operational projects. You're also involved with recruiting employees and overseeing the team that manages trust, tax, and portfolio accounting functions. So, again, being clear, this is an accounting job. This is not an IT job. They want to bring on someone with a degree, an MBA, and preferably a CPA, but that isn't required. At least 7 years of experience in financial services organizations managing trust accounting and operations with specific knowledge of trust accounting, tax accounting, and portfolio accounting. If you have a background in gifts, that's nice to them. Background in strategic planning and building organizations. Again, you'll be involved with directing the trust life cycle, accounting, and operational processes functions of this gift administration department.